Let's all just take a second and give Florence Pugh a round of applause for the year she's having. Fighting with My Family, Midsommar, Little Women. Life is good. What is up, Flick fans? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're talking Greta Gerwig's Little Women, one of the few movies I had remaining on my 2019 list. At the end of this video, I will place it in my top movies of the year as promised. I still have a few more movies to get to. Tomorrow will be my worst movies of the year and my review for Spies in Disguise. But today, Little Women. So excited to talk about this. So directed by Greta Gerwig, like I said, four sisters come of age in America in the aftermath of the Civil War, based on the novel Little Women. Like I said, we have the novel, we have many interpretations of this film. There have been Little Women movies, and this is just another remake, but I don't want to say it like that and make it sound like a negative. This is a story that can be told many times as long as you're constantly not changing what the heart is of this story, but somewhat changing the formula. And that's why I think getting Greta Gerwig to direct this was perfect, man. She is such a wonderfully talented director. I like her as an actor, but I am much more on board with what she does directing-wise. I was a big fan of Lady Bird. I would put this in that category of a movie that, I was looking forward to. But I even said to myself, I said, I'll see Little Women when I see Little Women. We're busy. It's the holidays. It's Christmas time. I was wanting to see it opening night, but I'm like, you know what? I'll see it when I see it, then I'll give my review for it. It surpassed my expectations. And the main reason, it has nothing to do with the story or the cast or Greta Gerwig. I'm just not a big fan of period pieces. And the fact that this is based right after the Civil War and just the feel of what this time period usually brings us is normally not this vibrant and happy and colorful. And I'm not saying that's the case for the majority of this film, because there are emotional moments, there are tender moments. They do this thing in the movie that a lot of people have been talking about, where they flash back and forward through time. And when we get a look into the past, it's much more colorful and vibrant. But when we are in the present, or the future pretty much, it's a lot more of what I expected, like the grayish color palette, but I didn't mind it because we're playing on what the emotions of our characters are as we progress through the story, learn more about them individually, and, even the fourth sister, the sister that we don't get much from in the movie because we have these massive stars. We have Saoirse Ronan, we have Florence Pugh, we have Emma Watson, and then we have Eliza Scanlen, who I just don't know much about her. I've not seen much from her. Being the quiet and subtle character that she is and playing the integral role that her character ends up playing, she did a wonderful job. And I'm taking nothing away from her saying that she was unfortunately outshined just because we have these big faces and big names, but they are big faces and names for a reason, because my goodness, Emma Watson surprised me in this movie. I expected her to be good, just not on the level of a Florence Pugh or a Saoirse Ronan. No, she's fantastic. Saoirse Ronan, the leading lady, pretty much, as she should be, as she is. It feels like every single year we get 2 to 3 movies with Oscar buzz, Oscar talk surrounding her, but that is the case for a reason. And without her personality, her charm, and most importantly, her wit, this character, this role would not have worked, at least as well as it ended up working. She's fantastic. But as we talked about in the intro, the woman who stole this movie for me is Florence Pugh. Florence Pugh, who is stealing 2019. She is being overlooked for Midsommar. She's not awards consideration, but being overlooked for Fighting with My Family. What she did for that movie was phenomenal. And now, yet another glorious performance from hers that is hopefully going to finally get her that awards consideration that I think she has been due throughout the entire year. She is brilliant. She's so lovable and charming. She's kind of a crybaby in this movie, but that's what's so wonderful about her character, and she is great. Everyone is great. Timothée Chalamet, great as always. He is kind of the awards guy at this point in time. Now, one thing I will say is he's not getting stuck in a rut, but he is playing a similar character every time we see him in a film. I'm excited for him to expand and do something different. Dune, coming out this year, is the perfect opportunity for that. But I'd like to see him play something not what he's playing now. Still great in this film. And what I love about how this film tells its story, because I feel like if it would have told it in a chronological way, it wouldn't have been as inventive as it felt. right? And I could see how some walk out kind of confused, like, okay, when does this take place? When does that take place? But we have to look at the subtle details, such as the character's hair, right? The hair is different in the past. The hair is different in the future. The color palette, like I said, certain things do slightly begin to blend together, but if you're paying hardcore attention, then I do think you'll completely understand how this story is told. That's one thing I was worried about just because I had heard so much about it going in, but I just love how they hit on something. They reflect back to a moment that caused that something to happen, and another unexpected element to this film was how funny it was. I mean, we should have expected this. The director of Lady Bird, we all knew it would be funny and quirky and lovable and charming, as this film was all the way throughout. And I just didn't expect to have this much fun in this particular film. Some nice cameos in there. Well, really one in particular. It's not a spoiler, but I won't say who it is just because I was like, oh, that guy. Okay, that's cool. And the movie progresses in such a way that's, slightly predictable. There are some elements in there that you can see coming from a mile away, and certain character decisions all throughout the film. There are certain characters that say things, and then by the end of the movie, you're like, well, okay, you kind of went back on what you said, but all right, I'll buy it for the sake of the story and the emotion. And speaking of the emotion, much more emotional than I anticipated. A crowd pleaser that could also be an Oscar contender. Like, so many things about this film that I think are going to speak well and sit well with a lot of people. My audience was cheering, clapping, laughter all throughout. And I knew it would be good. It's just, I'm not the biggest period piece fan. It's not a genre, but it's not a kind of film that usually speaks to me. But Little Women, it spoke to me. Really enjoyed it, much more than I anticipated. If you guys enjoy this kind of video, if you like these reviews going into 2020, gonna watch more movies next year than I did this year, be sure to smash that thumbs up button. We will do more. Come on this journey with me and let's watch movies together. I'm going on 86% for Little Women, and let's place this puppy in my 2019 list. So right now, I have Little Women at the 23 spot, which means it would have made my honorable mentions video. But keep in mind, guys, I saw a lot of 9s and a lot of 10s this year, one of the best years for movies in recent history, and the fact that this cracks my top 25 when I didn't expect it to is pretty good, man. This was a really good movie. Thoroughly enjoyed myself. Thank you so much for watching this video. Stay tuned tomorrow for my worst movies of the year, a review for Spies in Disguise, and hopefully Portrait of a Lady on Fire is coming soon. I have a feeling I get to see that. You guys are the best. I'll see you soon.